Welcome to Rajkumar Academy. Welcome to the session on 26/1/2023, guys. So today, let us look at some of the important issues. US Germany to provide battle tanks to Ukraine. So guys, even though the Western countries have not joined the war, they are indirectly supporting Ukraine. Ukrainian army people are getting some of the best equipments from Germany, and other Western countries. So now recently, the Ukrainian Prime Minister requested, please give us some tanks. And when they were asked to give the tanks, others accepted. Germany requested Poland, US has come forward, and they are giving the tankers to fight against Russians. So this is the difference. They are not directly involved in the war, but they are indirectly supporting it, which may over a period of time lead to other issues. So when people say First World War was fought from 1914 to 1919, Second World War 1939 to 1945, these many years when something happens, it is because of these type of issues, which keeps on continuing for longer period. Guys, President of India gives a speech on Republic Day. Prime Minister of India gives a speech on Independence Day. So, as Republic Day is today, yesterday there was a speech of the President where she addresses the nation on the eve of Republic Day. So, she has spoken about Baba Saheb Ambedkar and other people who have given their wisdom, which ensured that India is a democratic country today where we all enjoy our rights. SMK, that is SM Krishna Sudha Murthy, among eight from state to get Padma Awards. Adani shares fall as short seller flags its substantial debt. Not required, guys. So now, so guys, BBC has made a documentary on Prime Minister, and against that, definitely there will be certain articles because, what government did, government has said that it is wrong, and they have boycotted it on the basis of saying that it is an emergency issue, propaganda issue. But that is also true. Guys. What is the need for BBC to make a documentary on Prime Minister Modi? So let us say BBC is making a documentary on a series of political leaders and it is releasing Modi's video also. Fine, right? Or it is making video on the UK Prime Minister. Fine. What is the use of making a video on Modi government and that too on an individual? Right. So when you target an individual and make a video, we can show colors on anyone, guys. You take Indira Gandhi, you can show emergency as the cruelest order in the world's largest democracy, right? So why don't they make a documentary on how Britishers led to droughts in multiple areas, right? So how US bombarded Afghan people, which led to death of several millions people there. So when people focus on individuals, that is like propaganda. I want to spread hatredness about a particular person or a community, that too after 20 years. And you can always show selectively. Like, the video has like clips like uh, NRC, CAA, lynching. So if any death happens to any Muslim anywhere, and if we start blaming Modi for that, then there is some sort of issue. And if you say that that is happening only at this regime and all, the way of projecting India outside the world, right, will be wrong. India has overtaken UK, and India is one of the largest growing economy. The world cannot take it because a developing country, a colonized country, is now capable of fighting against all other countries. So they want to create that in developing countries there is dictatorship, and they try to create this. So this is what the Western media always try to do. Why I'm telling so much about this is it is very important for you people to know. Even during Anna Hazare campaign, lot of money was funded by NGOs from outside. Like, they wanted to spread that. So what did Manmohan Singh do? Right? Yes, it was corruption case, but so much of funds come from outside, not to fight corruption, but to destabilize the country from within. So today it may be Modi government, tomorrow it can be anyone else. But that is the agenda of certain Western NGOs and all. And they always try to create some sort of studies. Like, they would say, we will go for, let's say, India's HDI is improving. Then they will tell, okay, within health, they will identify new factor and tell, okay, in this India is bad. So they always try to keep on judging us and try to create the rift between developed and developing. See, guys, India has got independence only 70 years back. We were ruthlessly, economically damaged by the Western countries. And today, we are celebrating our Republic Day. On this day, we all should recollect one important thing, that we are sovereign and we are all together. We should not allow outside forces to divide us again. These propagandas were always made by these people to ensure that negativity spreads, right? So, this is very, very essential. And Hindu is a newspaper which allows alternative voice. It tries to show that whether the things are right or wrong. So, now coming to the censorship. So, the BBC has actually tried to ensure, yeah. So, when we look at that particular issue of censorship, whether it is right or wrong, we should go in detail about these cases. So, the first most important thing is the BBC documentary is being banned under Section 69A of Information Technology Act. So, once what happened uh, in Maharashtra, Bala Saheb Thackeray had died, and at that point of time, there was traffic jams everywhere in Mumbai. One lady, she tweeted saying that just the death of Bala Saheb Thackeray has led to lot of problems to citizens of Mumbai, and that made the people to arrest her, right? And finally, the court gave a judgment about, like, don't consider these as hate speeches, don't arrest them, and all those things came. So at that point of time, Section 69A of Information Technology Act 2000 was actually asked this. Fine, that was the first time a question was asked about that in UPSC as well. And second most important thing, when we look at uh, this censorship, should we support it or not? Forget about whether it's a BBC documentary or anything else. So here comes the point. So there is something called as natural justice. What is natural justice? I should ask, let us say you have committed a crime or you have done something. I should ask you, what is the reason? I should give a fair chance for you to tell me what has actually happened. And I should judge on the basis of listening to your story as well. Without listening to your story, if I take any action, then that is opposite to natural justice. Now, government wants to ban this, fine. But government should write a letter to BBC and ask, what is the intention? Why did you release this? Ask them, why shouldn't we ban it? Ask them what is their opinion and then you go for it. So this is legal means of discussing this. Political means will be different from legal means. Fine. And in UK, forget about India. UK Prime Minister, he has told that we won't support characterization of people, whether good or bad, guys. So this remark will be there on Modi about Gujarat riots forever. So that cannot be removed. But at the same time, what is very, very essential for us is when government tries to put censorship, will it be political censorship tomorrow? So, okay, this is a typical case, so going ahead with this is fine. But in other cases, let's say there is a documentary which is genuine, which people ask to know. At that point of time, we are harming climate, nature is getting affected. So, such type of things also, if government stops on the basis of emergency and other aspects, it may lead to issues. So that is what the article is trying to tell. And article is telling the rules have not been followed. So nothing much about it. So I just want you to write a few points here, guys. Section 69A of ITA 2000. Below this, it gives permission, it gives permission or powers to central government to remove to remove certain content certain content online online which would affect which would affect sovereignty which would affect sovereignty, independence, ability to ability to bargain bargain internationally. Next point, human rights activists human rights activists argue that argue that this would give more power to state. This would give more power to state. and state will dominate, and state will dominate, which is which is against against right to life. Yeah. So guys, now contesting the hegemony of dollar. So let me explain this a bit, guys. Guys, you see, we all need a currency to do trade internationally because different countries have different uh, currencies. And if India wants to trade with 193 countries, we can't use different currencies. So we need one important currency. Dollar is accepted almost internationally 60%. Euro, yen, yuan, these are all other important currencies. But dollar itself accounts to 60%. So can we replace dollar? Not so easily. Definitely we cannot. Why? Because if you need to replace it, you need to have banks. You need to have alternative currency. Alternative currency. Stability must be there in economy. Let me say tomorrow, I will use Chinese economy. And if Chinese economy collapses, then the entire world economy collapses. US economy collapses, the entire world economy collapses. But the number of times US economy collapses is very, very less because it stabilizes. IMF, World Bank, everyone work to ensure that it stabilizes. Second important thing is earlier most of the trade used to happen between US developed countries on one side, developing countries on the other side. See, US used to do trade with developed countries used to do trade with US, and US and developed countries used to do trade with developing countries, and developing countries used to do trade with these. But among developing countries, within developing countries, trade was less. Trade was very, very less. Between whom, among the developing countries itself, if I see, the trade was very, very less. So, all the developed countries accepted dollar and later they accepted euro, right? Whereas developing countries, as they were not doing trade among themselves, there was no need. They were also dependent on the dollar, right? But today, what has happened? US is imposing sanctions on us. US is imposing sanctions on us regularly, right? And as US is imposing sanctions not on India, on developing countries, right? Ukraine war, Russia, Iran, many countries are undergoing sanctions. So what will this make? Let us look for alternative, we will see. And dollar value, is very difficult to maintain. Let us say India's dollar value is extremely high. So during this time, what is going to happen? We will all search for alternatives. So we all have searched for alternatives, guys. Nothing much. So the article is trying to say that there is some sort of cushioning of the dollar. But is that really true? Not completely. But yes, in case if there is sanctions against the countries can come together and adopt something better. There is a possibility. But replacing dollar immediately is not possible. Fine. So you can write international currency, international currency challenging the dollar, challenging the dollar. Hyphen. Below this, the world was unipolar. The world was unipolar after USSR, after USSR, and there was, and there was hegemony of dollar, and there was hegemony of dollar. But today, but today, the world is polycentric. The world is polycentric, and there is different regional groupings, different regional groupings. Next point. Dollar value, dollar value has increased enormously, which has made which has made other currencies to suffer. Next point. Imposing sanctions, imposing sanctions by US by US has also forced countries to look for alternative, has also forced countries to look for alternative. For example, India is trying for currency swap, currency swap with the different countries. Next point you write. Earlier, the trade was mostly between mostly between developed and developing countries, developed and developing countries, and among developing countries, and among and among developed countries. Full stop. There was less trade. There was less trade among developing countries. But today, the trade between Asian countries, Asian countries, Latin American countries are more, and this has led to new currencies being accepted. Below this, BRICS, comma Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Eurasian Economic Union, Eurasian Economic Union are some of the organizations which question dollar. Below this, guys, even though there is speculation, even though there is speculation, there is no de-dollarization. There is no de-dollarization. Second, 60% of 60% of global currency is dollar. 60% of global currency is dollar, and it takes lot of time, and it takes lot of time to displace it. Next, in international system, contemporary international system, there is emergence of there is emergence of global south. So yes, next, India and Egypt ties elevated to a strategic partnership. So what is strategic partnership, guys? When we say strategic partnership, political, security, defense, energy, and economic linkages will be there. What is it? Political relations, security relations, defense relations, energy relations, economic linkages. Everything will be there, guys. Media Authority of Egypt Prasar Bharati to exchange information with respect to what you call as Republic Day and other aspects as well. Supreme Court to hear Rana Ayub. Electoral reforms only after consultation with political parties. Amartya Sen flays letter by Viswabharati not required. Second part of BBC documentary, 13 Jamia Millia students detained because they wanted to plan something. Posthumous 412 Gallantry Awards. Uh, Unite to Protect Constitution 901. Everything is about the Republic Day itself, guys. Yeah. India is planning to call Prime Minister of Pakistan for SCO summit. India will call everyone, but we don't know, whether they will participate or not. Manik Sarkar Badal Chowdhury not to contest Tripura poll, not required. RSS makes fresh minority outreach. So, guys, Ukraine sincerely grateful to Germany for battle tanks. Earth's inner core rotating slower. Study. It's a geographical issue, guys. So, whenever the inner core of the Earth rotates, Earth's geomagnetic field also rotates, guys. So, it is a proof that yes, it is rotating. Fine. So these are important issues we had, guys. Nothing much from the news. Thank you.